We send a correspondence to Lake Township's meetings and Hartfield's meetings. We don't have to go to the, but I go to the township every week. Those are usually much shorter and they never, they have public meetings. It's very rare to talk about anything except continue about their news. A lot of people like to talk about things about their neighbors. I've been making totally uniforms government. Totally nice. Yeah. Three trustees. Seven.
We know.
I think I've only had one vote that wasn't a teenager.
Have a motion and a second to adjourn executive session. Oh, yeah, let's record reflect Council Warren joined us. Chip. Well, I'll motion to adjourn the executive session. I'll second that. Yes. Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
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 Okay, and next up is the discussion on ordinance authorizing mayor to enter into a collective bargaining agreement between the city and service and clerical employees. Tim, give a quick overview, highlights.
Yes, this is the collective bargaining agreement for the city and the water plant. We've had negotiations ongoing for quite a period of time, and we appreciate their enthusiasm with the bargaining process. We believe this is as well a fair contract, a contract between the city and the water treatment plant, and we certainly appreciate all the good that they do for us. Water always runs clear, tastes good, at a bargain for our residents. So we ask that you take that in consideration and approve that as an emergency measure so that we can go ahead and put that in place with the period beginning November 1st for a 3-year term.
We'll be addressing that this evening in the council meeting. Tim, thanks again for your hard work and your time and your effort on this. I know it's a long process, but we came to an agreement with both sides.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Next up, Community Economic Development, Chairwoman Keys.
Yes, this is a piece of property that the Walsh University is looking to annex into the city of Canton. We just need to send a resolution down to the county commissioners stating we would give them all of the city services if it does indeed become annexed. And this is just a resolution. We're going to pass that on to tonight. Any questions, concerns? No? We have to do this before they even start the annexation process. And then it'll come back to us for a public hearing, and it's a long way. All right, moving on.
Okay. With that concludes that agenda. Motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn. Second? Yes.
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 Yes. Yes. All right, thank you. Might as well 2 minutes early when we start.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, I'd like to call to order the council meeting Monday, October 10th, 2016. Clerk, please call the roll. Or no, I'm sorry, I'm opening prayer. Father Daniel Finnegan, St. Paul from Catholic Church. Welcome, Father.
God of justice and mercy, thank you for the gift of life and the opportunity to serve the people of our city. Help us to act with character and conviction. Help us to listen with understanding and goodwill. Help us to speak with charity and restraint. Give us a spirit of service. Remind us that we are stewards of your authority Guide us to be the leaders your people need. Help us see the humanity and dignity of those who disagree with us, and to treat all persons, no matter how weak or poor, with the reverence your creation deserves. And finally, Father, renew us with the strength of your presence and the joy of helping to build a community worthy of the human person. We ask this as your sons and daughters, confident in your goodness and love. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Here.
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 All right, thank you. For your consideration, we have council meeting minutes, October 10th, 2016. Special committee of the whole meeting minutes, October 10th, 2016. Financial statements, September 2016, month-end reports, and mayor's court receipts for September 2016.
Motion to approve as presented.
Second.
Keesling,
Abstain.
Peters,
Yes.
Waring,
Yes.
Surratt,
Yes.
Folds,
Yes.
Fontaine.
Yes.
And Griffin.
Yes.
6 yes, 1 to abstain for all the reports that were moved.
All right, thank you. At this time, if you wish to address council, please step forward, state your name and address.
Chuck Osborne, 307 Fairview Street, Southeast, North Canton, Ohio. I believe it was Saturday, I emailed many of you regarding the agenda for your second special committee of the whole, which is bizarre as all get out. First of all, I guess I'll start out. We've got 3 meetings tonight, which everybody's going to pat themselves on the back. The charter talks about 4 meeting nights a month, not the number of meetings you have. I know in the past, Mrs. Warren has championed, oh, we've had more meetings than we've ever had in the past. It's meeting nights, it's a regular routine, it's a due process, it's a schedule. So I'm not too impressed with these 3 meetings tonight. At any rate, on your second special committee of the whole, by the way, I guess I'll just say it here now, probably about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, I spoke to your corporate counsel here about what appeared to me and many of us a glaring procedural process that's going on. And I was stunned. And your clerk of counsel just looked up at me and said, I'm going to do it my way. Now, in her defense, she was given no training when she came here. She came from a statutory city to a charter city. And I don't know why nobody on this council saw fit to have somebody show her the ropes. And even work alongside her. But anyway, on your second committee of the whole, I can't believe there is a plan to discuss a CRA again. Haven't we discussed these enough? Didn't Superintendent Wendell make it perfectly clear? They need every nickel they can find. Every nickel. Now, for years up here, we've all been very unhappy with the Kasich administration, the curtailment of local government funds. This is exactly what you're doing to the schools. You're squeezing them and squeezing them. And to be honest with you, I don't even know why this is all legal. I guess under state statute, it lays out that the schools are supported by nearly 70% of the property taxes. That's state law. Would you agree, Mr. Griffith? I haven't researched it, I'm just winging it here. How can local municipalities pass their own laws that trumps state law and takes away their money? That'd be some good research for somebody. Doesn't make sense. But Superintendent Wendell told you, we need all that money. Why would you even go down that path again? Doesn't make sense. And I'm trying to stay very controlled here, and I'm trying to be wild and crazy. Doesn't make sense. I'm sure your own children who follow along on this mess would ask you the same thing. And then to finish up, we've given the Hoover District nearly $7 million to just put in their pocket to never have to pay back. Then we paid $5 million for the whole 87 acres. That's what Mr. Lickner does, Stu Lickner. And I was very much aware of Mr. Lickner when he first arrived on the scene. There was an NPR hour-long radio show, and I've got numerous publications. Do you know what he's called out in California? The toxic developer. That's what he does. And now he's jumped into the Hall of Fame. You're not going to see him. What do you tell us? A model that you have ready next spring? I do not believe in that vision at all. You guys are hoping and praying. But please don't consider CRA should be eliminated from your vocabulary. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chuck.
Mary Baldwin, 50 Weber Avenue. Multifamily apartments are profitable for developers. Rental expenses such as mortgage insurance, property taxes, repairs, maintenance expenses, insurance, and professional expenses can be deducted from rental income lowering taxes. Also, depreciation of buildings can be deducted over 27.5 years. Using as an example Northridge Apartments, I'm not saying they're doing this, I'm just doing an example. The value of their buildings per the Stark County Auditor is $2,514,300 million. If this depreciation is used, that amount divided by 27.5 years is $91,429 per year that can be deducted from the property's income to reduce their taxes. Now, if you add these two things, the depreciation of 91 and some change per year, along with all the deductions they can take, these two combined would be significant tax savings for the developer. The majority of the homes in North Canton are owned by middle-income families and senior citizens. Property taxes are often difficult to pay for a lot of folks. If wealthy developers get a CRA and pay no school, fire, EMS, library, or road taxes, this leaves the burden of paying the taxes on the not-so-wealthy residents. This could cause any future levies put on the ballot to fail.
And
Always.
bring this evening is, again, the CRA. I was dismayed, actually, that it's on the agenda for your council of the whole meeting, which follows this. I thought there had been discussions that it was going to be eliminated, and there would be other ways that we could attract businesses other than a CRA, and I see it is back on the agenda. There have been many residents that have come and spoken to you here at Public Speaks in opposition to this. There have been many residents that have signed the petitions that are in opposition to this. Many people on the school board came the evening that Superintendent Wendorf spoke, and I thought he was adamant as to what he wanted you to do, which was not give 1 cent that belonged to the schools to a developer. So I'm puzzled as to why you continue. There will be levies down the way that I have spoken about repeatedly, and citizens are reluctant to pass levies when they know developers are getting a break. Miriam, I thought, was eloquent in explaining the many tax loopholes that developers can use. Let's don't give them a CRA in North Canton to do us. Please think what you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Before anyone else comes back to speak, let me, and I apologize for the confusion, I'll shed a little light on here. There were some overtures made to the city from IRG officials asking about a CRA and possible application to that facility. Our response was, you need to get with Superintendent Wendorf and the school board and get them on board as well. Not only was he at that council meeting, but we also spoke against the residential component as well. So, you know, we still stand by what we said in council meeting. So it's a long way to go. We're not going to discuss it tonight because there were no conversations yet. They have not happened between IRG and the school. So it's pointless to even discuss it tonight. There are a lot of obstacles that need to be overcome before it comes back to us. So that's where we're at in regards to that. If there anyone else wishing to address council, please step forward, state your name and address. Okay. Seeing none, we will move on to old business. We have a motion and a second to amend ordinance number 66-16 to include the emergency clause. Second.
Peters,
Yes.
Waring,
Yes.
Surratt,
Yes.
Folds,
Yes.
Fontaine,
Abstain.
Griffin,
Yes.
and Peterson.
Yes.
6 yes, 1 abstain to amend ordinance number 66, 2016 to include the emergency clause.
Okay. Now, may I have a motion and a second to read by title only the second reading of ordinance number 66-16 as amended?
So moved.
Second.
Waring,
Yes.
Surratt,
Yes.
Folds,
Yes.
Fontaine,
Abstain.
Griffin,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
and Peters.
Yes.
6 yes, 1 to abstain to read by title only the second reading of amended ordinance number 66, 2016, an ordinance revoking the designating of all city of North Canton Community Reinvestment Area, CRA, terminating the city CRA program for new residential, commercial, and industrial tax exemption applications for new structures, rehabilitation, and remodeling as may be permitted under Ohio law, specifically Ohio Revised Code sections 3735.65 through 3735.70, thereby repealing all local legislative provisions inconsistent herewith as may be described in North Canton ordinances 2289, 106, 2000, 71, 2004, 107, 2009, and 5, 2010, and declaring it seem to be an emergency
we going to read it 3 times? Or
This is the second reading, we're going to pass on under
Yeah.
business now. I motion we adopt.
Second.
Surratt,
Yes.
Folds,
Yes.
Fontaine,
Stay.
Griffin,
yes.
Peasley,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
and Waring.
Yes.
6 yes, 1 to abstain to adopt the second reading of amended ordinance number 66, 2016.
Thank you. May I have a motion and a second to suspend the rules of council for 3 readings for amended ordinance number 66, 16.
So moved.
Second.
Folds,
Yes.
Fontaine,
Stay.
Griffin,
Yes.
Peasley,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Waring,
Yes.
and Surratt.
Yes.
6 yes, 1 to abstain to suspend the rules of council for 3 readings for amended ordinance number 66, 2016.
Thank you. And finally, motion and a second to adopt under suspension of rules amended ordinance number 66-16. So moved. Second.
Fontaine,
Stay.
Griffin,
Yes.
Peasley,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Waring,
Yes.
Surratt,
Yes.
and Folds.
Yes.
6 yes, 1 abstain to adopt under suspension of the rules for amended ordinance number 66, 2016.
Thank you. May I have a motion and a second to read by title only the first reading of ordinance number 72-16.
So moved.
Second.
Griffin,
Yes.
Peasley,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Waring,
Yes.
Surratt,
Yes.
Folds.
Yes.
Stay.
6 yes, 1 to abstain to read by title only the first reading of ordinance number 72, 2016. An ordinance abating the municipal services that the city of North Canton shall provide to a 0.8992 acre land, more or less being part of the northeast quarter of section 16, township 11, North Plain Township, range 8 west, Stark County, Ohio, in the event the land is annexed into the city and declaring the same to be an emergency.
Thank you. Chairman McKee.
Yes, this is what we talked about earlier. Resolution stating will. My glasses are not good.
I'd like to see you weigh in on some of the ordinances.
It just was so
You were elected by,
I'm sorry.
residents of
Give me my honor.
Sure we know where you're at.
So anyways, this is the resolution of services for the property that may be annexed into the city of North Canton, Ohio. I motion we adopt.
I agree.
You
Don't
did
get
your
second.
second.
I second.
Okay,
See what happens. What happens when you're in
Let the record reflect Mr.
I mean, it's a mistake.
Rubin's abstention and moved
There
Thank
we
you,
go.
thank you. I
to
mean,
this one.
Peasley,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Waring,
Yes.
Surratt,
Yes.
Folds,
Yes.
Fontaine,
yes.
Nice.
Griffin,
Yes.
7 yes to adopt the first reading of ordinance number 72, 2016.
Thank you. May I have a motion and a second to suspend the rules of council for 3 readings for ordinance number 72-16.
So moved.
Second.
Peters,
Yes.
Waring,
Yes.
Surratt,
Yes.
Folds,
Yes.
Fontaine,
Yes.
Griffin,
Yes.
and Peasley.
Yes.
6 yes to suspend the rules of council for 3 readings for ordinance number 72, 2016.
Okay, may I have a motion and a second to adopt under suspension of rules ordinance number 72-16.
So moved.
Second.
Waring,
Yes.
Surratt,
Yes.
Folds,
Yes.
Fontaine,
Yes.
Griffin,
Yes.
Peasley,
Yes.
and Peters.
Yes.
7 yes to adopt under suspension of the rules for ordinance number 72, 2016.
Thank you. May I have a motion and a second to read by title only the first reading of ordinance number 73-16.
So moved.
Second.
Surratt,
Yes.
Folds,
Yes.
Fontaine,
Yes.
Griffin,
Yes.
Peasley,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
and Waring.
Yes.
7 yes to read by title only the first reading of ordinance number 73, 2016, an ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of North Canton, Ohio, to enter into a successor
Second. Or motion, rather.
Then I'll second.
He's sounding so good.
Folds,
Yes.
Fontaine.
Yes.
Griffin,
Yes.
Keithley.
Yes.
Peters.
Yes.
Waring,
Yes.
and Surratt.
Yes.
7 yes to adopt the first reading of ordinance number 73, 2016.
Thank you. May I have a motion and a second to suspend the rules of council for 3 readings for ordinance number 73-16?
So moved.
Second.
Fontaine.
Yes.
Griffin,
Yes.
Keithley.
Yes.
Peters.
Yes.
Waring,
Yes.
Surratt.
Yes.
Folds,
Yes.
7 yes to suspend the rules of council for 3 readings for ordinance number 73, 2016.
We have a motion and a second to adopt under suspension of the rules ordinance number 73-16.
So moved.
Second.
Griffin,
Yes.
Keithley.
Yes.
Peters.
Yes.
Waring,
Yes.
Surratt.
Yes.
Folds,
Yes.
Fontaine.
Yes.
7 yes to adopt under suspension of the rules for ordinance number 73, 2016.
Thank you. Reports. Member Font.
I'd like to thank Greg Sarball for Lions Club's generous donation of the trees. They planted several of them over in the park by Whitwood Park there at the school. Looks great. So thanks for that. Also, I was wondering, Mr. President, if we could add on the agenda for discussion about some sidewalk information, street lighting, and PFAS and things with the street now the next meeting of the whole. And then the final thing is Zimmer Ditch, we're in the process of trying to secure some more funds, and you know, we're going to be talking about that in the next meeting. But if we're lucky enough, we'll get another $788,000, and of course we have to do about 32% match, and it looks favorable. So if we get it, that'll pretty much wrap up the project that we have. Is what it looks like. Mike can probably touch on that as well. So that's all I have for you today.
No word.
No report.
Keith.
No report.
Griffin.
One minor item, I know there's been some question previously, and I know people comment about this all the time. Section 2.404 of the charter says that the council shall meet as at such times as may be prescribed, but shall meet at least once during each calendar month. I mean, obviously we do a lot more than that. That's one of the things I've heard a number of people say, and I wanted to clarify that for the public's benefit.
Once a month?
That's what the charter says. Yeah.
Also clarify that Mary Beth has done a great job, and
Yay, Mother Dove.
we're proud to have you here, and really came with a lot of skill sets, so thank you.
That's all.
Thank you. Member Stroud.
Met with Engineer Benikas last week on a variety of different things, and one of the things that we talked about was the sidewalks, which as Member Fontaine brought up. And I've asked Mary Beth to get us some different ordinances from a lot of sister cities and bring out our own ordinance. So we're going to be kind of presenting that and see where we are with that. So as we go into next year, you know, we can come out with this and maybe look at what we can put into whatever how we're going to do it. Make sure that we're budgeting whatever we need for which way we decide to go. Also, the lighting on Main Street too. Some of the poles and some of the the different variances of lights want to kind of pull that together. So we'll probably be talking about that Member Fontaine. We're going to put it on his agenda for the upcoming meetings. And that's all I got.
Member Folds.
I was just glad to see a lot of paving getting done here in the last couple of weeks, and hopefully the weather will down, we get all our streets done. So I'm very happy about that, I'm sure we all are. Just let everyone out to Woodrow residents about some of the trees there. There's been some discussion about what's happening. I think our law director, Tim Fox, wrote an opinion that review, at least you should have got an email. And, a lot of it's out of our hands, as you know. PUCO is jurisdiction that residents can file a complaint with. But obviously, there's easements involved. But I think progressively, we're going to work in meeting with the AEP representative and some of the tree trimming company personnel. We're just going to do an inventory on Woodrow and see where we're at. I hope we're progressing enough as a city to look long term and how this affects all the residents, and really to try to put the right trees in the right areas for the future. I mean, when you look at that street, a lot of those trees are probably nearing the end of their life cycle. And I like it to sustain it to be a beautiful street tree, excuse me, a treat street for for the next 50 years, and that takes some planning to do that. And obviously, the right trees underneath the lines, the right trees, maybe that the properties can plant in their front yard, that ensure that that canopy is going to be there for years to come. So hopefully that's the direction we're going in. And I think if we're progressive about it and, you know, take a leadership role, hopefully good things will happen in our Woodrow, as well as some of our other beautiful streets we have in the city.
Thank you. I'm glad you brought that up. And I talked to Mike, and I think the mayor too as well. I've had a bunch of calls on there, and the thinking by a bunch of the residents on that street were that we're going to come in, this one was going to come in and take all the trees down and replant, you know, ornamental trees or whatever. So based on the letter, it sounds like you said, it's going to be health of tree and that type of thing taken into consideration. It sounds like it's going to be more of a yeah, well, in a process, phase process. So, okay. So I was encouraged, and so were they encouraged by that as well. So, okay. All right. Director of Finance.
I've just been working diligently on the 2017 budget. Meeting with Mike, we're going to meet with all the department heads this week on their requests, and then we'll want to follow.
Looking forward to it. Director of Administration.
The Woodrow letter also gave residents, if they have concerns, suggestions, whatever, they can call my office or the council office and let us know. We also want input, obviously, from the residents, and try to keep them informed, so they just don't see people out there marking trees, which happened one day because they did it without our knowledge, and they shut that down really quick. So, and it was good of AV to shut down for us. They don't have to, but I think the last time they were in the city, they learned that we are concerned about our trees, and so they're now working focus on that. The Lions Club on the trees, it helped us plant about 24 trees around the city. We got those in. They're various different kinds, depending upon where we plant them, how high they are, and that type of thing. And I appreciate the Lions Club patience on that. It took us a while to get those in. We also want to thank Bryce's Nursery because they worked with us. They gave us some extra trees and some extra feed bags and that type of thing because they like them as Canton too. And the Lions Club, the day after we planted them, the next Monday, they came up to my office and gave me another check for $6,000. So that was very nice. We really appreciate that. That's awesome. Thanks, Greg. Yes, sir, that's it.
Okay, yes, I have three things. First one, we had a grant and heard on the radio. We teamed up Jim Davis to apply for an ODNR grant with the city of Canton and Massillon and the Lions. But there was over 1,000 trees that were awarded, and North Canton will get
at least 50.
At least 50. So we're going to have, in addition to the trees that we received from the Lions Club, we're going to have even more trees coming through an ODNR to plant. And so there's certain requirements that have to be met, but that's good news. So we're on our way well past 100 trees, which was our goal. And the next item is trick or treat. We collectively decided that it would be, well, council made a recommendation and we went along with it. The trick or treat is going to be this Saturday from 5 to 7. For those residents that live on the periphery of the city borders, if the young children are accustomed, like in my neighborhood where you have Plain Township's trick or treat is Sunday from 3 to 5. North Canton's is Saturday from 5 to 7. So we had a few calls about, whose house is included, and it's really, if you want to get technical, it's right where the city border is at. So I'm sure we'll be able to work that out, So trick or treat is this Saturday
And Sunday.
Turn your lights on. It'll be North Canton, 5 to 7. And if you want to go across the city borders to Plain Township. And then the last item is, I know some of you, probably all of you, had the opportunity to go to the firehouse for the open house, which really was, we had 2 nights, great event. And it just goes to show you how well-trained our police, how well-trained our paramedics are. They do an excellent job. And right now, all of the full-timers now are paramedics. Some of them are So we used to have inspectors that were firefighters. Now they've got all this training. So while they're in between their fire or EMS calls, they'll go out and do inspections. So it's really allowed our department to be much more cost efficient. In addition to that, the accident we had where the young man and young lady were hit by the motor vehicle, I think it was the first night that we had the open house, the young lady that was saved by our paramedics, an emergency call. She was trapped under the car. She came up and visited the firefighters and thanked them for saving her life. And I did get a picture from the chief on that, the two paramedics were on the call. So it's just really, really powerful, very powerful experience. When you see all the training and dedication that our firefighters have, because they train constantly for emergencies like this. And when you look at the split seconds that go into getting into the fire truck, the ambulance, getting to the scene, not knowing what you're going to find at that scene, and having to make a determination within minutes to remove multi-ton vehicle off of a young lady, and at the same time keeping her safe and then taking her to the hospital, and they saved her life. So really, really good news, and I'll make sure I pass that picture out to you.
Mayor, so you said we have firefighters, we have paramedics, and we have fire medics.
Yes.
Okay, correct.
Yes. So our individuals now, so many of our full-timers are not only firefighters, so we used to have full-time paramedics. Right. And then there's a level just below that, which is emergency EMTs, emergency medical technicians. But all of our full-timers are paramedics in the past. Now all of our full-timers are firefighter trained and paramedics. So they can do a fire call and they can do a paramedic call. Whereas historically, our full-time employees were either, one was the chief, the other two were fire inspectors over at firehouse. Then at the EMS building, they were all paramedics. Now, the two fire inspection positions are gone, and we have 3 fire. We used to have 4 fire inspectors. Now we're down 3. We still have 1 fire inspector and 1 fire chief, and all of the 9, I think, close to all, if not all of them, the paramedics are firefighter trained. So they can do fire. They can take on a fire call, and they can also do paramedic calls. And most of the work is paramedics.
Right.
But to have them both, to be trained, multi-trained, that's men and women firefighters.
That's very good.
In addition to that, some of the fire medics, I think there's 2 or 3 of them, are also, they took the training for fire inspection. So now they can go out, and so whenever we say firefighters, we say paramedics, now we say fire medics. Now I guess we could say fire medic inspector. But then we do have one of our, I'm just joking about that, but they are all 3. We do have one of our fire medics who is also a commissioned police officer, which is what they're doing in some cities. We don't really have that formal position recognized, but it's Drew Rhodes. Drew Rhodes is a police officer and a firefighter and a paramedic. So we got a lot of highly trained men and women over there, which is really nice.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Mayor. Very good.
Nothing other than just to let everybody know, the zoning board of appeals meeting tomorrow at 6 p.m. In relation to an application for variance for a bed and breakfast on South Main Street.
Clerk?
No report tonight.
If there's no further business coming before council, I entertain a motion to adjourn. Second.
Yes.
Peters?
Yes.
Waring?
Yes.
Surratt?
Yes.
Folds?
Yes.
Fontaine?
Yes.
And Griffith?
Yes.
7 yes.
Thank you. We are adjourned. Call to order the North Kia Special Committee of the Whole meeting, Monday, October 24th, 2016. Clerk, please call the roll.
Peters?
Here.
Waring?
Here.
Surratt?
Here.
Folds?
Here.
Fontaine?
Here.
Griffith?
Here.
Keesler?
discussion on sidewalks and lighting.
Second.
Waring,
Yes.
Surratt,
Yes.
Folds,
Yes.
Fontaine,
Yes.
Griffin,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
and Peters.
Does that mean yes?
7 yes to amend the agenda.
All right, let me do this too. Motion and second to remove the discussion on the CRA community economic development.
So moved.
Second.
Surratt,
Yes.
Folds,
Yes.
Fontaine,
Yes.
Griffin,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
and Waring.
Yes.
7 yes to remove the discussion of the CRA.
Okay. All right, Don, you're up.
Okay, so one of the things I like to talk about, and this is something just from my profession I learned about, which is the type of lighting we have everywhere in the city. If you notice, there's a variety of lighting. You have really white, bright lights, and then you have nice warm lights, and then you have the high pressure sodium lights. So as we move forward, we're trying to figure out what the scheme should be. Since LED is the way to go, we should be sticking in the 27K range, which is a warm, inviting light range, where this is 5,000K in here. You can't see the screens properly, so we should consider switching the lights to the appropriate lighting, which is 27K. The other thing is when you look at the corridor on the way to East Maple, those are all real white lights, which are obtrusive, and those should be 27K. An example of what 27K looks like, that's the light spectrum, which would be the 6 lights right in front of City Hall. So when you drive down City Hall, you're going to see 6 lights that look warm and inviting. I would make a recommendation that all the lights need to be that way as we switch them over. They're very efficient, they're very warm. Over time, the lenses get yellow, so you have to update the lenses periodically. But as you notice, that some of the light poles are rotting away because they weren't galvanized or whatever the case may be. So as we move forward with our inner city scheme, I think we should have maybe every other light post, and I think that's what I want to discuss. And also the main corridors coming in, which would be Portage, Glenwood, Maple, Schneider, Maple. So I think we should look at those for the walkways, and Sred will talk a little about that. But I just think the lighting is most important. So when we order our lights, we need to remember what to get. So we want to make these 27K so we can see the screens properly, and then around the city it should be 20. That's the magic size. Okay, so that's what I want to start with. So go ahead, anybody else?
Mike, do you have any comments on that, or how we've been ordering, or do you know the history of it, or?
We've had some meetings and they made some suggestions. There's different things out there. We're talking budget, and I've talked to Mr. Hawkinsmith. We're budgeting money to bring to you to see what you want to do with the street lighting. We can't do every other one necessarily because you do have to make sure the intersection's lit, and they're not all exactly what. Just look at it block by block. And 2,700K is fine out there. Here is 4,300K, and that's what you should have inside the building. If it's too bright for the screens, we need to either dim the lights or...
I just thought these 3 were 27K and the rest were 4,000 or 5,000.
They're all the same, 4,300.
Yeah, I get it. Those are just too bright because you can't see the screen. That's, I'm just saying.
Yeah, but you got to be able to work here too, and so that's what...
27K is quite inviting.
Not in a building. I disagree on in a building.
Yeah. Well,
Ask all my employees, they'll tell you the lights we put in all their offices is great. They love it.
And these are what? What did you say these are?
43K.
So, but you could be able to dim these, you can have them come back and put rheostat in and dim them because LEDs are dimmable now.
Very much so. So you could do that. But the rule is between 3 and 5K is what you see in a commercial application.
Yeah, 5K is daylight. If you're, that's what
it's just like lighting daylight, that's right. Like this.
Feels like this. And now you're in the area where LEDs do pay for themselves. A few years ago they didn't. We checked with Canton and some of the others. It took 10 years to get your money back on LEDs at that time. That's why we didn't pursue it at the time. We went in a different direction. So, but now it is cost effective.
Thank you, Fontaine. As far as, the plan that we've been talking about, going back and forth with, is, we tried this every other one from, I don't know, Glenwood or Mississippi out to the thing. And most people didn't even notice the difference. And finally somebody probably came and said the light was out. One of the ideas was to replace every one of those going out with the lower ones,
But if we find the right lower ones, we haven't been able to find it that actually shine light on the sidewalk, so we're not left with blank spots, every other one on the sidewalks, because that's very important to us, as we're a walking city. And then take those, and that at the same time, we'll get rid of that runway look that we have going out that way, which has been a conversation for a lot of years. And then take the good lights of those and put them where we need them on some of the main streets that are rusting out. Some of the problems with the ones that we have here, from my understanding, is that this first phase that we did this years ago, they weren't galvanized on the inside. And that's why those are rusting. It's just the first section that they did are the ones that are rusting. The other sections are pretty good, if I'm not mistaken. And the people who made those did say that they would give us like buy one, get one free after that, because to make up for that. This is just the information about it. So that is one thought as we put a circle then around the city. Where do we want this kind of lighting? I mean, do we want, we can't just say we're going to do it everywhere. I mean, maybe make a historic kind of area like Linwood to Marcourt to 7th Street, where we've already started 7th Street, but out then maybe to, let's say, Glenwood. And then let's make those lights the same as we move forward for the future. Portage, for one. When we have to look way out, we'll go out into Lindy Lane on Portage, where, that idea has to be thought of and start talking about that as someday that Jim's going to methodically, magically get a grant for us. Hopefully we can do that. So I think we should start looking at, as far as lighting is concerned, we did check those lights out on, if you look in front here, there are 6, there are different ones. My only thought, I like the look, but if you look at where they shine, and we need to probably tweak that a little bit, where they shine on the sidewalk, it's like a spotlight. And there are gaps that are shallow or dark gaps. So as you're walking the sidewalk, you'll get a big bright spot. And then you'll get a
those lenses that they put on have a blind spot where it projects. You got to put it on correctly. If it's put crooked, it projects the wrong direction.
Okay, well then we have to look at that, because right now you go out there, you're bright, dark, bright, dark. We need the nice flow on the sidewalks for, in the street, of course, not just the...
So number one's lenses, the old lens is yellow. The new lenses, they have a window where you turn it so it hits whatever area you want it to hit.
But we definitely need to get that.
So it's a learning curve.
And we need to consult it more. We met with the guy before. We need to get them in here. We have a lot of lights. We need to make sure we get it right and they last for a long, 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 long time. And if you look at other cities, they do not rust like the ones we're having, but we found out the problem with the rust. You go to some of these older cities, and those things have been sitting there for 50 to 100 years, so they should not be rusting like that. So I agree. We should get on that. What we need as far as budget, we appreciate you looking at that. As far as that's the lighting part of it. Any other things out there, Fonte, we want to do with the...
I mean, the lighting is important. It's like I said, there's bright spots everywhere. It's like more uniform. And I'd like to consider maybe sidewalks and make sure that we circle the critical areas to make it more walkable as we hopefully get the Hoover District and other things going on.
And that was the other, I mentioned, we talked with Benigas about the sidewalk thing. We need to revisit what our policy is on sidewalks when it comes to us. Because if it is our policy, then we need to enforce our policy and make sure that we don't fall back. There are a lot of people who do a lot of walking. When you come up on the sidewalk and it looks like that, it's like, are you kidding me? I mean, so that should not happen. Like, if you fix the sidewalks, you fix everything around it, people take more pride in what we're doing, and maybe they take more pride in their own. At the same time, safety issues run along with that. People ride their bikes around school. So another thing we got up with Benigas is, let's start with little phases. I mean, we definitely look at the city, maybe encompass the circle. Definitely the main streets, of course, the main, and streets that are around the schools. There's where you get your majority of walking. And then, again, take that little encompass and let's work our way out from that. It's not going to happen overnight, but over a period of time, we can fix a lot of these problems, and of course the emergency ones that are sinking. Those need to be handled. But again, how do you pay for them is the question of that. So I'd ask Mary Beth to look at other cities. Let's do our homework a little bit. I know we have our ordinances, but let's look at a little bit of what's best for our city and come out with whatever we have. And then if we do have that, let's make sure that we're getting out there and making sure that they're being
Is there any grants available for stuff like that?
No, I asked him about that, and there's no real sidewalk grants kind of thing. Questions, Mike? You guys have probably a lot more experience than
No, we'll be bringing to you in the budget lights for speed and warnings and that on your entryway. Someone's checking that out, and we'll bring that to you in the budget too.
I appreciate that. And I was looking at some of the, speaking of that solar light thing, I saw another city that uses those, and these have the solars. Some of them can be moved. You know, one company was telling me that, you know, you put a big pipe in the ground and you have areas where you can actually take those and put them in other places. Not that you want to do that, you want to keep them in places that, well, let's say you have a special event somewhere. Well, all you need to do is put the pole in the ground and stick that in with a little lock, and you have one now that instead of, you know, taking your trailer everywhere. So that's another thing is that can be turned, any of those lights can be turned into that. So that's another idea where you get multiple use out of something for special events. And I think, you know, slowing traffic down on Main Street, slowing traffic down on Portage, even in the future around the Little League fields and Walsh, once we get that finished, I think should be some high priority areas. So I appreciate you guys looking into that and moving in on that.
We also just got a speed survey done for us on Main Street and Portage. Jim and I have to sit down and take a look at that and see what we can do speed-wise on the recommendations.
And more from the Main Street, want to look at our bricks. Yeah, bricks. We got, again, that's the same as our sidewalks. We got to look at these bricks and start deciding what are we going to do. Jim's not here right now, but what are we going to do with these bricks? How do we fix them for the long term? You know, some of them are falling. They just need to be.
You know how they did up north?
We need a program. Continue to fix them.
Well, how they did the concrete up north?
Stand concrete.
Stand concrete, or just do a little brick inlay. You know, so all concrete. See, that would be a charming look, but really we want maintenance free. We don't want to have people doing things over like the walls and everything.
Well, we have to understand, our South Main is over 20 years old when we started this.
No, I realize that. I meant north, going north, how they take the stamped concrete.
Right.
And they do inserts.
We changed the lighting structure there too.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's nice up there too.
But it's good discussion.
Yeah, but at the same time, you look at the other cities, bricks last forever.
Right.
So, but you have to have a continuous maintenance program to take care of. It doesn't need all to be done at one time, but let's take care of sections at a time, pick them out, put them back in. If you need to put concrete under, put concrete under in those sections. And, you know, just clean up the grass that's in between them and the dirt. That'll do that once you clean them all out, put them back in, and it starts all over again. So it just needs a little bit of maintenance on that.
Just as we go forward, it's nice to beautify the town, keep it nice and desirable.
So anything else that you had on that?
The only other thing I can say is let's use the Boy Scouts and need service projects, you know, and put them on some of these little projects.
Yeah.
You know, cleaning the weeds, whatever. So it's just a thought.
Just on that note with the lights, so we do have, as Mark was saying, we've got the lights out front, which those are like our demo lights, right? For people to look at. And take a look at those, maybe even before you leave tonight, and then look at the ones over on Maple, East Maple. Those are the real bright ones. So we've got like a little menu of different lights, and if everyone can let us know which lights you prefer, like the softer ones or the brighter ones. It seems like the brighter ones, you know, it's nice because it's well lit, but it seems like it's maybe a little bit too bright. So if you take a look at the ones right out in front, there are the 6 down, is that what it is? The 6 in front?
They're 27.
You can see it
Right here, like you got a soft light, you got a yellow light, right?
Yeah.
You look across the street, that's 5,000 K.
Yeah, move to the right about 3 feet, look directly
Oh,
across.
yeah, okay. All right, so then you have to decide which one you want, or which look you like.
I mean,
That's step number 1, and then number 2, as Mark was also saying, if you go down North Main, you know, we've got the big lamps that are spread much further apart. And so, you know, where do we want those larger lights to start? What streets specifically? And because, you know, the whole idea of the runway, the problem is we have so many lights, and every time they get hit, you got to replace them. So if we have fewer lights to maintain, so we need this is the information we need from the council. Which lights to go with, which ones you prefer, and then secondly, if you have any ideas as far as where you'd like to continue the light posts out front here. because we will have Walsh too. Walsh in the next 2 or 3 years, we're going to be improving that gateway. And I think we're planning on putting in those same lights that we have out here in front. You know, the smaller.
Well, and I think that's the point, Mayor, that Councilman Serrata and Ajay making. You have 42, and we want to make sure we all match these together. We know we're dealing with future lights to match with the old ones.
Well, even 40 has been discussed, that you can start with maybe the taller ones, but once you get into what we call our historic district, if you want to call it, then you start going to the lights. So we get that home feeling in the community as you come in. So I can see that being on the outskirts. I mean, what we did out east, or north of Maine is probably good. As you come in and you jump into the 7th Street, kind of the district. That's a good discussion.
Did you get on that?
All right. Good stuff. All right, next up, finance and property, Chairman Griffin.
We use my Kiko auctioneer voice here to roll through these 4 items, some of which I think will be very contentious. Item 1 is the disposal, maybe of, actually in the Kiko auction, of items that have been collected by the police. This is something we do with some regularity, and might need to add to this.
Yeah, we've done this once before where we donated to the Salvation Army bikes. The bike ring gets filled up pretty quick. Usually they're laying on the side of the ceiling. So my property officer's been after me to see if we can get rid of that. We don't have an auction coming up, and this would be a nice way to get rid of some of those bikes, and Salvation Army will repurpose them. So.
Very good. So if you're missing your bike, you might want to get down to the police office really quick.
1970, my bike was stolen.
You bring it up every time.
I had a
The
snake
police
race.
did their job, it should be there. I even had a license on it. Remember the license?
So registered?
It was
a
a
city or $60 registered.
It was
Hey, mine was.
It was a low van, see the clickers on the side.
Back then, you had mine every year.
Item B is another phase for the Sacred Ditch. This one's a little more serious. We're being asked again to commit, I believe, in next year's budget. Is that correct? For
Yeah, we probably do next year.
and we'll end up doing the disposition at that point, but another $63,000, but for a much higher leverage piece, which I think is good. That will give you an opportunity, but essentially, in this case, if we're able to make that final appropriation, then all 19 homes that we were looked at that needed to be bought out will have been bought out at that point. So the problem will largely be dealt with, which is good. We'll all knock on wood together. Any comments there?
No, but you're right. The portion we're talking about is 32 or 3% of the 788,000 or 788,000, which is huge. The bill would be less enough to secure this and wrap this 19 houses up. That'd be huge after this 40-year toothache.
Stark Parks just needs us, if we're going to pass this as quick as possible, because they have to show that people have buy-in before they get the grant.
Without that,
We'll have that on emergency as well as it's listed here. Item C, Laura, feel free to chime in on this one too, but basically we have, at the end of the year, we have dispositions of different, with our funding, we sometimes spend money, it makes more sense to spend money on a project on this side rather than this side. As we get to the end of the year, we need to clean out the books to show that instead of taking some money out of savings, we took it out of our checking account. No additional appropriation was done, that's clear and that's important. We simply need to demonstrate clearly which fund certain things came out of. How did I do?
Wonderful. There is one additional appropriation, just a small one for 8,600 in item C.
Oh, that's right.
And that's for the city newsletter that the nurse department's working on.
You're right.
That's being covered through a grant, so that's just to get it on the books. But everything else is just cleaning up the line
The
items.
8,600 in that case will be a pass-through, so we'll anticipate money coming in and we'll do that. Any questions relative to that? This is, again, just something to prod. And again, basically that's actually also is something like this there too. Any questions? Yes.
I have one. Mike, can you bring this up in the center guy? Remember Joseph McQueen? He came up and talked about some speech where we sent a really nice card thanking us for drinking. Yeah, Mulqueen, right? And it was brought up at the park board meeting, and I failed to talk to Jim about it, but I know he was after additional improvement there to skateboard facility. Now, he wanted to do something homemade, but I think we had a discussion that we're better off to buy something that's manufactured with the intent Maybe we can review that, I'll check my, we'll bring that up to the budget since we're getting close to you guys discussing.
I think he did some research.
You did research, you came to a park board meeting, you came up here and just talked about it. But he wanted to build his own, but I think we're better to get something similar to what he likes.
We'll bring it in this week. Laura and I is doing the first round of all the supervisors.
Just leave room for skateboard equipment, we'll fill it in. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good. We're done? Okay, before I entertain a motion to adjourn, quick housekeeping. Next Monday will be the 5th Monday. We will not be meeting. Someone very upset. And we will be reconvening on the November 7th, 14th. Okay, entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved.
Second.
Those fair say aye. Aye. Both same side, we're adjourned. You too.
All right, smart. I was just a little out of sorts. Let's go ahead and kill that. Let's kill that.